Sexy Gurdeep Ahluwalia. How does it make you feel?
That's weird. We were taking this interview in a strange direction. I thought you were going to start with how's work, how's TSN, are you enjoying the weekend? You're just getting right in there.
Getting right in there. There are two Ahluwalia men that I think are absolutely fabulous. Both of them are sexy.
You're talking about my dad and my brother. Oh, you're talking about Waris.
I'm talking about Waris, and I'm talking about Gurdeep.
Yes, sorry.
So I can tell that when you start swaying into these kind of conversations, it's a little bit hard for you to take a compliment from a woman about you being sexy. Is it because your mum will be watching this show?
She probably is. She's probably going to be watching it more than anybody else. I've learned to deflect when it's about me. You know how it works.
Well, this is all about you, darling. It's all about opening your chest.
Okay.
So you ready for that? Is that why you don't have a tie on today?
Yes, that, and it's a day off, so I tend to dress down on the days off. I have to wear
Perfect.
suits 5 days a week, so try to take it down a notch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. Do you remember the first time that we met? Okay, let me tell you. You were interviewing me when I was doing promo one year, a number of years ago, for one of my annual Anoki Awards shows.
Okay.
And it was when we used to have the Sexy and Successful list.
Yes.
I was at Daytime Peel, and you were there interviewing me with one other person. It was another lady.
Kim McCleary, my co-host.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you asked me a specific question. You said that, will I ever be on the Sexy and Successful list? Do you remember that?
I don't remember specifically asking you that question, but 2007, 2008 version of me definitely would have asked that question with no shame. That was my first on-air TV gig, so yeah, that was, it's like cringeworthy stuff when you watch the way I used to interview. But by the way, I don't think I ever actually made it onto one of the lists, so I'm still waiting.
No, you never made it onto the Sexy and Successful
Yes.
list, because then we changed that and just called it the Anoki
It
list.
was discontinued
You
for
made
something
that.
better, which I made. Oh, okay.
But you made it onto the Anoki list
I
last
know,
year.
I did.
And it was the perfect year to be on the list. Other than the fact that you had a tremendous year, it was the first year that the list actually became a collector's coffee table book.
It's on my coffee table right now. No, it's on my mom's coffee table right now.
Of course it is.
It is a gorgeous publication. I was blown away by how well you guys did with that. A good friend of mine, Pooja Honda, was in that as well, so
Yeah.
we swapped stories, and you guys did a fantastic job with that. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm so pleased to hear that, sweetheart. So let's take you back to the beginning of time for you when it comes to your journalism career. You decided to go into journalism, obviously. We all know that. How did your parents take that? Because I got a feeling that you're a bit of a mama's boy. Am I right? Am I right?
Oh boy, you probably have to ask Mama Bear about that one. I'd like to think not anymore, probably when I was a little younger. But yeah, I mean, I love my mom, obviously. I guess for me, I think everybody has this sort of like aha moment. Everyone has, or hopefully has, a moment where a light bulb goes off and you figure out what you want to do with your life. I have some friends who are my age who still have yet to have that moment. I'm hoping it comes soon, and other people have it when they're young. I was lucky, I think for me, the switch kind of flicked when I was probably, I'd say 19 years old, first year university. I kind of coasted through high school, and I actually went to McMaster University for business. And halfway through first year, I realized this is not at all what I want to do. And I'd been volunteering for the campus newspaper, the McMaster Silhouette, writing a weekly sports article. And I found every week, Thursday was when it would come out, when it would hit the newsstands all over campus, and I found every week I was just looking forward to getting my assignment, covering that story, and physically holding the newspaper when it would come out on Thursday. That was sort of what started to drive me. So I thought, why not attack something that I actually thoroughly enjoy and look forward to? So what I did was I switched out of business. I switched into mass media communications and sociology, did a double major, took a full-time job with the campus newspaper, with campus radio. So basically by fourth year university, I was putting in about 30 to 40 hours a week of extracurricular, unpaid, I hope this goes somewhere work.
Yes.
And school was pretty much on the back burner. I was just kind of getting through. So there were some times, to bring it back to the parents, where they kind of thought, okay, this is great, you're working hard, but where is this going to go? And then after you graduate, I started interning, i.e. working for free at at places like the Score Television Network and the Hockey News, TSN, behind the scenes, kind of just learning the industry. And you're living in your parents' basement at that point and not making any money, so they do kind of say, where's this going to go? Where's this going to lead you? So I think that's where it all kind of started, and luckily my parents were super, super supportive. even though it's not the most practical career. And it easily could have gone south. I mean, for every me, there's probably 100 people who try to do something and put in the same effort and are just as qualified or capable.
What do you think it was about you that potentially made the network feel that that you're going to bring maybe something different to the picture? Because I mean, there were the big pioneering heroes like Sunil Joshi, Adnan Burke, and then you come along. So talk to me a little bit about what you think, or maybe the feedback you've had from people as to why you, like the powers that be, put you in front of the camera.
It's a good question. I feel like you'd have to do a one-on-one sit down with them to figure that out. You know, it's such a funny industry, and I still meet with students who are in broadcasting now to try and watch their demo or give them some advice, because I had a lot of help from people coming up, so I try to pay it forward. You mentioned Adnan Burke. Little shout out to him. He helped me out a lot putting together my first demo. He's always been a guy who I look at as a mentor, a colleague, a friend, and he's helped me out. Even still, if I have work situations, he's still a guy that I will bounce ideas off or try and collaborate with. But yeah, I mean, it's a funny industry in that, you could be in a newsroom where everybody in the newsroom loves you, thinks you're brilliant, smart, hardworking, a go-getter. But if the one person who's making the decisions, for whatever reason, doesn't like you or doesn't see something in you, you're kind of capped in terms of how far you can go. And it works both ways. People in the newsroom could think you're a complete maroon, but if the one person making the decision sees something in you and sees that potential, it expedites you and it sort of, it puts you on a track. So for all the sort of successes and the sort of the good choices and good fortune I've had, there's tons of failures along the way, right? I mean, I've bombed auditions. I've sort of walked out of auditions with my tail between my legs. I've been down to the final two people in jobs I thought I had, and then been given that disappointing call saying you didn't get the job. So, I look at it as a law of averages kind of thing, right? I mean, if you apply to enough things, if you put yourself out there enough, you send that demo out, eventually someone's gonna see something in you, hopefully.
Did you ever feel that you weren't good enough? Or do you think, you know what, I am good enough, I can do what they're doing? Like which way was your mindset when you were going for these auditions?
It's a little bit of both, I think. I think what really helped me, what made things tangible for me was the 2-3 years after university, working behind the scenes at 2 television networks and 1 magazine, because that made it, I saw every day what the anchors at SportsCentre do. I saw every day what the anchors at The Score do. I saw what national sports writers do, and I was writing copy for the anchors, and I was putting together their highlight packs. So it made it very real and tangible for me, and at that point it instilled a lot of confidence in me to say, yes, I can do what they do. It's going to be a heck of a long road to get there, because nobody goes straight to national. You have to sort of go small market and work your way up. And but at that point I knew that I was capable of doing that job. It was just a matter of getting the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, because in the media business there's different genres of media personalities, and there's that one group that really needs to be an expert and on the ball, pun intended.
Thanks for dropping in some sports. I
absolutely.
Appreciate that, yeah.
In terms of what's going to drive their anchorship role, right? I mean, you can't be on TSN if you don't know anything about sports or how to deliver what the message is all about. In other words, you can't fake it, but you can in other media roles. You can, like if you're a lifestyle host, there is a part of that is that has everything to do with your opinion, perspectives, and opinions and perspectives really can be anything. There's no right or wrong, but there's right or wrong in what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about what you do. Like, what's your prep to make sure that you're always considered an expert in sports delivery?
Like any normal job or traditional job, I work 5 nights a week. However, if you're off for a couple of nights and you happen to be off when it's the Super Bowl or NBA All-Star Weekend or a playoff game, it doesn't mean you're off in the sense that you're not staying on top of what's happening. I guess I'm lucky in a sense that because I naturally and genuinely have always enjoyed watching sports, and it was a hobby for me, it doesn't really feel like work. So, if I take a week off just to do a staycation, I'm still watching all the games. I'm still staying on top of it. I'm still reading all the articles I would when I wake up and before I go to bed. But I do that because even if I wasn't working at TSN, even when I was at CP24 or when I was at daytime, I was still doing that because that's what I genuinely enjoy. That was my sort of de-stressing material. So the fact that my hobby now just feeds into what I actually do, it's a blessing, right? And that's one of the messages I give people when I do public speaking to high school students or university students. It's find your passion, find your hobby, and find a way to get paid for it, because then you're laughing. And that's luckily the situation I'm in.
So this was quite strategic for you then from the get-go, from university when you actually switched your program. Like, it was strategic that the type of media you wanted to go into was sports.
In an ideal world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I was naive, but not naive enough to think, okay, well, I want to work at TSN one day as a national anchor. That's what I'm going to do. Because, at the time, before they expanded to TSN 5, there was about 8 national anchors and maybe 6 bureau reporters. So it's a very limited and elusive type of job. So I was cognizant of that. I knew that what I told myself was, if I can make a living off of media, and specifically sports media, you're never going to hear a complaint out of me. And whether that be something in production behind the scenes, like what I was doing when I broke into the industry, producing, chase producing, assignment desk, stuff like that, I would have been okay with that because I love the atmosphere, I love the newsroom atmosphere. What you can't plan for is stuff like daytime happening and realizing that, hey, you're actually pretty good at hosting a lifestyle show when you had the blinders on and you just wanted to do sports. And that opened up some new avenues for me. And eventually I wound up doing news and a little bit of weather and traffic along the way, and then eventually a breakfast show at CP24. And,
yes.
And that was such an ideal situation for me. I had such a once-in-a-lifetime co-host in Pooja Honda, and that was a really hard situation to walk away from. Even though sports was always sort of the end game for me, CP24 really opened my eyes, and quite honestly, I would have been happy spending the rest of my career at CP24 had TSN not come calling. But then the minute they did, I had to kind of step back and say, okay, hold on here, big picture. What did I want when I was 19? I have this opportunity, but before me, am I really going to pass on this because I'm currently happy? It was sort of it ain't broke, but I'm going to try and fix it anyways kind of thing, if that makes sense. So I took a couple weeks and I thought about it and decided that I had to go through with this offer from TSN because really, national doesn't come calling for everybody. And if you turn it down once, they're probably not going to come calling again.
Were you nervous on your first show?
Luckily, no, only because I was in a fortunate situation where I had a great boss at CP24 and at TSN. So because they're both owned by the same company, Bell Media, and they knew that I had an interest in sports, they had allowed me to kind of part-time at TSN to get my feet wet there for my last couple of years at CP24. So it wasn't totally foreign to me when I jumped in full-time, but my first part-time shift at TSN, yes, it was like 2011. I think I hosted a sports center over the Christmas break. I was extremely nervous because, this is a show you grew up watching. For me, it was Sports Desk, then it became Sports Center, and I remember this moment sitting up on the desk. You've got your earpiece in. I was with my co-host, Dan O'Toole, and I remember hearing the Sports Center music, and it's like Pavlov. I hear the music, and I automatically imagine myself in my track pants on the couch, like I'm watching it, and then I'm like, oh, wait, hold on, I'm hosting this.
Yes.
This isn't me watching Sports Center. I'm actually hosting this. I got to get my stuff together.
I'm pleased to hear that you're in kind of your space. Obviously, with the good always comes the bad. And I know that, and it's well known that you did experience, a little bit of racial profiling. Mm-hmm. I want to go into that next. Hi everyone, this is Open Chest TV with me, Raj GIRN. If you like the chat that you just finished watching, I really hope that you will subscribe to my channel for more intelligent, provocative, relevant conversations with some of your favorite celebrities.